Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the River. We have technical difficulty again. So that's
it looks like we don't have a YouTube feed. So I'm sorry to say our YouTube viewers are probably going to be out of luck. It keeps saying preparing stream, but the YouTube feed is not going out there. It initially started because Facebook deleted our stream for today. Don't know why, but they did. And they're just making things difficult.
Yeah, we got to try to look at the. We got to try to look for another platform. This thing's becoming really. Yeah, it's not dark at 4:30 anymore. We can actually see the sun. That's it, James. Yeah, too bad. Hopefully, YouTube will get fixed. But well, I guess the first thing we're going to talk about today is the action star Chuck Norris has passed away at 86. I guess it was fairly unexpectedly because he was supposedly working out like 10 days ago, and I guess something happened. Jimmy, what's up? We don't know the details, but if you're a Chuck Norris fan, he's passed away at 86. Yeah, Facebook is a pain, and so is YouTube, and so is this platform. It's been a mess.
Yeah, we do not have a YouTube feed, so there will be no broadcast on YouTube today. I will try to upload it later, but we're kind of stuck with StreamYard because they're the only ones out there that connects to Facebook and YouTube and other services. And the problem is that we're trying to bring this out to as many people as possible, but we don't get any support. Okay, our viewers aren't clicking stars on Facebook, which actually equates to money. Each star equates to a penny, and that would help pay for this because this actually is costing us money. Believe it or not, it does. Costs us $50 a month, and that's coming out of our pocket. So,
hopefully we'll get it straightened out, but they have to get StreamYard Premium, Gene says, so I don't know if that's going to help, but it'll make StreamYard richer. But I guess the next thing is we had an arrest in Fall River. Remember, there's no crime. Paulie says.
And Gene, we are StreamYard Premium. That's why we pay $50 a month.
Oh, okay. We are, and we're crashing. I didn't know it was premium. I just noticed it. Right. Fall River police said they arrested on firearm and drug charges after conducting a search warrant targeting 45-year-old Rashawn Scott of Forest Street. They have a picture of a AR-15, supposedly short barrel rifle, with no serial number, which means it wasn't legally purchased. It's got no serial number. So they found a digital scale with suspected fentanyl, cocaine residue, blah blah blah. But again, we have no crime, no nothing. You got a guy running around who's got an AR-15.
TV Pravda.
Yeah, we can't. Well, we refuse to go on there because they want us to sign an affidavit waiving our First Amendment rights, which isn't legal to require, but that's what they wanted. And there's no freaking way I'm going to go and sign a waiver to my First Amendment rights. I let them say anything they want, and we'll say anything we want. But while we're on that, I guess the next thing that just came out, according to what I just downloaded, and you sent me, CJ, just downloaded 8 hours ago on March 20th, which happens to be today. So this is what we got. Let's see if we can get this on the screen. So this says, from one of the best to targeted. Florida Police Department weaponized the criminal justice system to obtain a warrant under questionable pretenses to uncover the identity behind a fake Facebook which posted critical comments about Fall River PD personnel, including Chris Teves, son of Chief Kelly Furtado. And then it goes on. It's a very lengthy document. It's at least 12 pages. I have 12 pages down. There were some other pages, and I'm not sure. It's going to take a while for us to peruse this. This thing just came out today. But it gives the specifics of how they attained the ability to get a warrant to find the person. And it apparently is a former Fall River PD officer, and the warrant supposedly, according to Fall River Reporter, was obtained under questionable pretenses. I'm quoting from their article. So allegedly, according to them, it was under, and it goes into a lot of detail. So if you guys can look it up. We will do some more research. We'll have a little bit more comment on Monday. But again, we find that this city is replete with all kinds of alleged corruption. But speaking of corruption,
I'm just going to go there.
Let's segue into what Paul, the pathological prevaricator, has done. Yes. An addition.
You're right, Michelle. We're just gonna start on that.
We're just gonna start on that because we just switched over from Paul, the pathological prevaricator, who said he was going to go to civil service, give her a 1-year contract. Now he's going to give her a 2-year contract, and he told the city council, "Hey, right there, I told you I'd go to civil service if you appointed her, but now I'm not going to civil service. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to do whatever I want to do because I'm the dictator, and I own this city, and you don't have the balls, city councilors. You don't have the cojones to do something about it. So the hell with you. You made me get rid of my superintendent, and I gave her a golden parachute, but you're not making me get rid of my chief." And I'm not saying she's doing a good or a bad job. I'm talking about Paul Coogan and his total lack of ability to follow anything any promise he's ever made. I'm giving you a tax break first term. I'm giving you a tax break when he ran for the second term. Now it's F you. You're never going to get a tax break from me. I don't care. I'm in my last term. I'm going to just shit all over everything. And I don't care. My people are being taken care of.
According to my sources, Paul decided to give her the contract because corporate counsel Dumpsy or corporate counsel Dummy said he doesn't need approval of the city council to approve the contract for a sitting department head.
And
so because of that, she gets her contract, which, by the way, this 1-year contract she had gave her a $35,000 pay raise over the previous chief.
That's right.
Over Garvin. $35,000. I wonder how much of a pay raise she's going to get with this contract.
Well, let me.
And if the city council gets the balls to take it to court, not only are they going to sue, they should sue Paul, they should sue corporate counsel because his opinions are a joke.
Well, look, I don't know. That opinion.
And if it's found that the opinions are a joke by a judge, then Paul has violated the charter.
Well, let me put it this way.
And the contracts he signs should be nullified.
The only problem is that opinion may fall into a gray area. The reality is he's saying that he has the right to do that, and theoretically, he can enter into any kind of agreement he wants with that department head, which is non-union. But he's going to enter into an agreement that is in direct conflict with an agreement he made with the city council. And so therefore he lied to the council,
which he does all the time.
I don't know if a court would say he has to adhere. So it's up to the city council. So you know what you do? You go, all right, I'm not going to go litigate this and spend a whole bunch of money determining if he has the right to give her that contract. What we're going to do is we're not going to fund it.
That's right.
Because he can give a contract to anybody he wants. But the city council does not have to fund it. They can say, Paul, you said that you were going to go to civil service. And you lied. Well, I mean, listen, find me a time that he didn't lie. That list will be a lot shorter. Because there's probably nothing on that list that he didn't lie about. The guy is one of the most corrupt people I have ever seen. That whole family. It's like the corrupt crime family. Brother jumped half the fire department to become a chief. He couldn't pass a captain's exam, and he tried to make chief. He lasted 13 days. These people don't care. You give somebody a contract in a school department, tell her to do something, she doesn't do it, and then when they terminate her, there's an uproar. Now, you gave this person, and I don't know what kind of job she's doing, and I'm not going to. This is about Paul Coogan. And his total.
You're right, Michelle. We do know how that goes. Okay?
Yeah,
they don't have a set of balls amongst any of them.
Let's see. They don't have to fund it. They can say, no, Paul, we're not going to fund this contract. You told us you were going to civil service. Let's see. Let's see. The school committee's grown a set. Let's see what the city council does. I can tell you that Paul Hart's going to nod his head, and Joe Camara's going to nod his head, and Linda Pereira's going to nod her head. And let's see what the rest of them do.
James, we've talked about that several times already.
And let him
we've already spoken about that several times. You're way behind the 8 ball, James.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the person who negotiated the contract, James. You want to get to that quickly. They're supposed to know that shit, but they don't. So the thing is, what they did was they approved them to work a work schedule that was in excess of normal hours, which the only people who can do that without IRS requiring overtime are fire and police, because they work a schedule that doesn't work a 40-hour work week. It works not working a 24. So it's a little. In the old days when we used to work the same thing, but we had day and we had 2 shifts rather than a 24. We had 10s and 14s. You worked 2 34-hour weeks, 2 38-hour weeks, and 4 48 hours. So it balanced out to a 42-hour work schedule, but you didn't get paid 2 hours overtime because you fundamentally you're waived by the IRS. But the idiots who negotiate these contracts find it. Then some employee goes, "Oh, you screw me the overtime," and they're going to get it because the IRS said you guys violated the law. And the thing is that's the way it goes. But this is Coogan. Coogan doesn't give a damn about anything. He's just going to ignore everything. Let's see what the council does. This isn't about the police chief. This is about the mayor. The mayor said, okay, I'm making a deal. We're going to go to civil service. Everybody says we need to go to civil service, or we need to go outside the department, because now we see this. The allegations in this are staggering. Read it. It's online. it's a lot. It's a long read, but there's a lot of allegations, and we got to really go over them. But
Michelle approved it under the premise
yeah,
that Paul was going to convert this to a civil service position. And that's why she agreed to a 1-year contract. Now that it's been converted to civil service, Paul won't do it.
That's right. He won't do it.
He wants to violate the law.
Again. And just tell the city council, I dare you. Do something about it. And they always fail. And everybody's upset at the school committee. I congratulate them. You got some people on there that are willing to actually try to do the right thing and have a different opinion than the corrupt Coogan crime family. This guy is just, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, this guy just walks around. He should have a giant hat with a middle finger sticking out of it.
Oh, I know.
Every time he walks around the city of Fall River, because that's what he's doing to the taxpayers, and he's telling the council, F you, you people, I don't care what you say. How many promises is he going to break before they stop listening to his bullshit?
The thing that makes me laugh is that they believe his line of bullshit every time. Every time. They don't learn. They're getting smacked in the face every time with a lie. And they believe it. And then you've got Andrew Raposo and Linda Pereira going, you know, give me a break.
Yeah.
If you want to believe the lies, that's fine. Put a sign around you that's saying, tell me anything, I'll believe it. And when you turn around, wear the sign that says, kick me.
All right, everybody, you're all watching, and you guys keep an eye on it, and so does CJ. Correct me if my memory is off. Didn't the city council all approve that? But they all fundamentally agreed that they all wanted to go to civil service?
Yes. And it went to Boston, and Massachusetts. Fall River was approved by the Massachusetts legislature to have their police chief in civil service. It is now a civil service position. And I said there was something wrong because Paul hasn't sent out for the list.
Yeah. Well,
and that's why he didn't send out for the list. He planned on fucking the people of Fall River.
Well, if there's a civil service list, they theoretically we're back in civil service. They have to check that to make sure it's been
but she's in the position already. They don't have to check the civil service list. They're just extending.
No, her contract has come to an end. Does it have a sunset clause? No, it didn't. It was a 1-year contract.
And it doesn't have an extension clause either.
That's right. So therefore, the contract is over.
It's done. Right.
It's done. It's done. Because for you people who don't know what a sunset clause is, it's something that you put into a contract when you're like in a union, because the city jerks you around and doesn't give you a contract. You're working without a contract for a year or two or something. It's basically it basically says that this instrument will stay in full effect until replaced by a successor agreement. So in other words, all the benefits and salary levels and stuff stay in effect. That contract is in effect until you renegotiate a new contract. There's no way they can cut your salary. Without that, they can just cut your salaries. They can terminate the contract. But her contract does not have a sunset clause because it was a 1-year contract. It's on record. It's on record. So at the end of that 1 year, they are in civil service again.
That's my opinion as well.
Well, that's why they got to go to court and they got to tell Paul, we're not funding a contract. We went to civil service. We've been approved to be in civil service. Call for the list.
That's right.
You haven't even given a test yet, so they're not going to get a list. Therein lies the rub, because they never gave a test, I'll bet you. So now civil services said, we got no list to send you. Then the city council's got to grow another set and say, Okay, we're going to get another interim chief from out of town. Case closed. Look, it's a disaster. Everything he does just violates the law, and it's like the city council just doesn't fight anything.
No, they don't.
And I want to ask this question: how can any city councilor vote to extend his contract when all the city councilors agreed that they wanted to go to civil service? How can you circumvent civil service and not stand up to get that agreement adhered to? But they will. I can guarantee you, Paul, I lick everybody's ass hot. Well, say that. So will Joe Camara. And so will Linda Perry. They'll come up with some bullshit excuse. But I haven't forgotten that we were supposed to go to civil. There was a big, big fiasco over this. And this has got nothing to do with their performance.
Hey, how about the fact that we still have not seen anything about changing our form of government? Why? Because I think Paul is eating out Carol Fiola to give her the job of mayor.
Well, or somebody they pick.
Yeah, or somebody they pick. This is getting to be ridiculous. Nobody's doing that fucking job. Everyone's promising the world and giving them shit.
Well, how many more promises is Paul going to make? Remember, Paul was going to put in to change the form of government. Paul was going to put us in civil service and make a civil service chief. It was going to be a 1-year contract. And listen, I don't know her. I don't know what kind of job she's doing. And you know something? She could take the civil service test. That shows how dumb they are. You know, Paul's a real dumbo. Because all they had to do was go into civil service and only have 3 people take the test, and then they can pick from the top 3. All she had to do was pass it.
Right.
All she had to do was pass it. And she'd be a civil service chief forever, as long as she wanted. Louis Shea was chief for 20-some years, civil service. I mean, this is how dumb they are. Because the only way they know how to get anything is through political machinations. They gotta give somebody a job so they can be beholden to them, and they're gonna say, "Look what I gave you. I gave you this job. You didn't earn it." Well, I mean, that's how dumb they are. I can't believe it. I just can't think. They're so freaking dumb. It's just beyond human comprehension how freaking dumb they are. He's worked in his state his whole life. He doesn't have any clue of any of the laws. And he's the mayor now in his 7th year. Has no idea how the government works. All he had to do, the dumb son of a bitch, is freaking give a test. You know, that's how dumb they all are. Because all they know how to do is get shit by kissing ass, political ass. Right. That's all they know how to do. All he had to do was give a freaking test. You know, that's been done before in a lot of cities. They go, okay, nobody wanted the job except one guy. They go, okay, but you can't give a test with less than 3 people. They got 3 people to take the job, to take the test. They gave the test. They walked into the test room. They signed their name. Start the test. They walked up, handed their test in, just made check marks any way they wanted, or no check marks, or 3 check marks, so they flunked. 3 people took the test. Now the list has only got 1 person on it.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And their disregard for the law. They don't care. How many times has this guy literally had a giant dump on everything? I'm giving you a tax break. first term. Give me a tax break second term. I'm gonna go to civil service. We're gonna change the charter. We're gonna do this. Oh, I'm gonna give you back this contract I already exempt. Oh, wait, your 45 days are up. I'm gonna circumvent the law. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna have my people on the retirement board violate the law and not conduct an interview. And Perak told them that, and they still didn't give a damn. I mean, this is the worst administration I've ever seen. They're just blatantly, at least other administrations tried to hide it. They're just blatantly corrupt. And they don't care. And he's in hiding 7 years. How many times have you seen him outside that goddamn office giving a press conference about anything? I don't know. Somebody run.
No, as far as I know, she's running unopposed.
Well, therein lies the problem. Nobody wants to run up there in the North End. And the irony is that is a very winnable race. Like I said, David Steinoff beat her in Fall River. He didn't work Freetown and Sonnet, and he lost, but she was beaten Fall River. And yeah, but I mean, with all candor, you have to admit that the two elections that he won subsequently after his first one, which was kind of like a giveaway, he said, "Oh, give me one term. I'm running against a guy that's going to be a convicted felon and whatever." But the other two campaigns are abysmal. I mean, Cliff Ponte, torpedoed himself before he even started with that letter. I'm going to be a part-time mayor.
Ceremonious mayor.
Yeah, well, yeah, part-time. They use part-time. I don't know what they use. But the next day they were up on the Coogan signs, and Sutter did absolutely nothing.
Right.
Zero. Nothing. So, I mean, she looks like she spent too much money at the regatta. But yeah, this is nuts. I mean, but again, you can't just blame him. It's the old adage, you let somebody get away with it, they're going to keep doing it until there are consequences. City council never ever holds him accountable.
And like was mentioned earlier, the school committee took the bull by the horns.
Yep, they did.
And then when they had the bull by the horns, they grabbed it by the balls and made him a eunuch.
That's right. But he learned from that. Now he's going to come over on the city side where he knows he's got enough weaklings on the city council where he might get away with it. Let's see what happens. This is the school committee stood up to its first major test and passed. Let's see what this new city council does. And like I said, it's not an aspersion on the police chief. Nobody is saying that she's good, bad, or indifferent. I have no idea. All I know is we've still got crime. Paul never talks about it. The police have just made an arrest, but there's an allegation that something wasn't done right, but that's always a part of the business. She may be doing a good job. She may be doing a bad job. I don't know. That's not the point. The point was she was going to get a 1-year contract and we were going to go to civil service. That is on the mayor, not her. That is on the mayor. The mayor, again, lied his ass off. We're going to go to civil service. And like you said, we were going to go to another form of government. That still hasn't gotten anywhere.
And it's not
nothing gets out.
I told the city councilor today, it's not going to happen. Just like I told you that this wouldn't happen going into civil service.
Well, I hope Michelle has learned her lesson never ever to listen to a promise. Get it in writing. Pass an ordinance putting us back in civil service, articulate it in an ordinance, and then you can't back out.
Right.
Can't back out. You know, at one time there were only 2 positions in the fire department in ordinance, CJ. You know what they were? The fire chief and the fire chief's administrative assistant. You can do things like this if you know what you're doing.
Right.
But they won't, because they're politicians. They're not representatives of the people. They're going to let the people of Fall River get shit on again. And listen.
Well, I heard that the fire chief goes home at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, puts his feet up and watches TV.
Well, that's another allegation that should be checked on. And also there was an allegation that he didn't show up during the blizzard. He was the only department head that didn't show up. But what did we hear about that? Crickets.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to check. So this is the first test of our city council. Let's see if these people are going to hold Coogan's feet to the fire. And like I said, nothing against the police chief, but she's got a 1-year contract that's up. So what are they going to do? Say, we're not going to fund that. We're going to go to civil service. And they say, oh, you can't go to civil service because we got no list. Say, request a test, put it in writing that we will hire an interim chief until the civil service test is corrected and the list comes down, and we will appoint the interim chief. And if you want to put her in for the interim chief, we'll consider it. But put it in writing that we will have a civil service chief at the end of the story. Period.
That's what the people wanted. That's what the city council wanted. But that's not what Paul wanted.
And Paul never does anything he doesn't want.
That's right. You know what Paul says? Kiss my ass. Kiss my Irish ass.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to adjourn the meeting with 2 people not at the meeting.
That's
It's
right.
still an executive session. I'm going to run an executive session and a regular session simultaneously, which, by the way, is illegal. You can't do that. It's a violation of the open meeting law. So that whole fiasco should have been thrown out. Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Do we have the people? And like I said, I don't understand how even Paul Hart and Linda Pereira and Andrew Raposo can forget. They must have political amnesia that they were in favor of going to civil service.
That's
with
right.
all the chaos we had. First they said, let's go out of the city. Oh, no, let's go to civil service. Well, they ended up, everybody supposedly agreed to that. Yeah. No, you're right. They don't care in this state. You know why? One party wackos. That's what you got. One party.
And remember, Maura Healey created a state-funded website to report ICE activities.
Yeah, which is, actually aiding and abetting illegals. Right. So she should be in jail. But look what happened. Yeah. Look what happened in Virginia. They elected that phony that said she was a moderate, and the first thing she did was bar anybody from cooperating with ICE. And then in, I think, the Fairfax, Virginia thing, they had a kid that was walking around, an illegal, that was walking around groping all the girls. And they didn't even suspend him.
Nope.
They didn't prosecute him. They didn't throw him out of school. They didn't deport him. They let him stay in school. The parents went nuts. There was a big deal about that stuff. Groping him, walking around, grabbing him physically. And it's like, this is what you got in these democratic cities. Look at the ones that they arrested him and they zero bail for rape. Let them out. And when they go to jail, if you convict them, let them back out on the street. Don't give them to ICE. ICE said, well, you can take them, but when they get out of court, they're illegal. Give it. No, we're not going to give them to you. We're going to bring them to court, let them out without bail, and let them out the back door. And if anybody helps you, we're going to fire them from their jobs, because that's why they should all be in jail. But these blue states are just totally out of control. And this is what you got, because they're all on Paul's team. Like Paul said, when you live in a state like we live in, you can't get anything unless you're on the team. But when you're on the team, you get everything. And therein lies the rub. I mean, so now she's getting, and look, I can't blame her. Take the contract. If these idiots are going to let the mayor have a dump on him and lie. But the ironic part about it is, how easy would that have been? Give a test. Have it take the test.
Hey, are you ready for this one? You're going to love this one. Barry over at WBSM is reporting that the fact a new online portal for reporting Massachusetts political misconduct and nonprofits is now up and running in response to the Massachusetts ICE reporting portal.
Yeah, well, something.
Not as good that will do, but
I don't know. But if Barry's got that portal up, you could crash that portal in the first day just reporting what Coogan's done.
That's it.
It'd overload it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Abigail. Yep, Abigail is supposed moderate. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right, James. But it just shows how badly people can be misled. Anybody that thought she was a moderate had to be insane. All you had to do was look at her record in Washington. She's a left-wing Looney Tune. A absolute left-wing Looney Tune. And then it's always tough in Virginia. Why? Half of Washington, D.C. lives in Virginia. All those people that Trump made come to work, all the people that hate Trump, they all live in Maryland and Virginia. They don't live in D.C. It's just too much crime. Go to Alexandria. That's like a 10-minute drive from D.C. They're all in Alexandria, very high-end city. All government workers, all Democrats. That's how she got in. That part of the state is virtually 98% blue. She got in because of that crap, and then they convinced a couple other imbeciles who actually don't pay attention. Look at their record. Look the way they behave. It's like the city council, as CJ said, believing that Paul will ever keep his word. I mean, we're going to have to replace, you guys will have to look this one up, the Baron Munchausen. Look up the Baron Munchausen.
Baron Munchausen.
That's right.
Baron Munchausen.
That's
Munchausen
right.
syndrome.
That's right. Yep. He is the icon of bullshit and lying.
That's right.
But they're going to have to replace him. It's going to have to be Baron Coogan, because he makes the Baron Munchausen look like a piker. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. How many times? It's like, if you were like that as a child, your parents probably didn't have a stove because you didn't learn. I put my hand on a hot stove when I was younger. I only did it once. I'm not going to do that again. Well, you put your hand on Coogan's hot stove, I don't know how many times, and you still try to pretend, you still say you believe his bullshit. I don't know. Yeah, and ironically enough, everything they're on is on like 80-20 or 90-10. 70% of the Democrats want voter ID. What human being on the planet wants to allow people who are not citizens of the United States to vote in our elections?
Sitting
It's
Democrat.
not a representative form of government because they're not part of this country.
Sitting Democrat.
But 70% of the Democratic Party believes in voter ID. As actually, so did Schumer 10 years ago. They got video of him saying, "Oh, you got to have your Social Security card. You got to show your ID. You got to do that." What's the big deal? Oh, it's voter suppression. No, it's to stop voter cheating. I mean, yeah, a touch of it. Yeah. I mean, look, it's just crazy. I mean, the positions, and it shows that even their own constituency, how they get reelected, is beyond me. They don't get reelected because they don't represent their constituency. If 70% of the Democrats are in favor of voter ID and 95% of the Republicans are, how can they be against this if they're representative? No, it's because Ilhan Omar is going to get elected by the Somalis, and they're going to cheat in the elections. AOC, Anna Priestley, well, she's from Massachusetts. Anybody from Massachusetts, they could be totally batshit crazy, and they're going to win. They could go out and murder 85 people in the streets tomorrow, and they'd get reelected. See, Jazel screwed up. He should have been a Democrat. He should have said, everybody, you can't do anything to me. I'm one of you. Oh, that's right. Okay, we forget it. You're not going to get any kind of prosecution because these people, they're ridiculous. I mean, you look at the people in Washington, and they keep asking the question, but it's a rhetorical question. They know the answer. How can these people be in Congress and in the Senate when they don't represent their own constituency? Well, look at history. These are the same people that said to their Democratic voters, who sometimes you have to question their intellectual ability, we don't care if you voted for Bernie Sanders. You wanted him to be the presidential candidate. We're putting Hillary in. Wait a minute. You want Joe Biden? He won a primary. No. We're going to put Kamala in because we don't think Joe can win. We choose everybody. You're not. This party is not your party. We don't have a democracy even within this party that always complains about democracy. The people who run the party make all the decisions. The only time you'll ever get your way is if the way you want is the way we want. Otherwise, go take a shit for yourself. Because that's the way that party is run. Think about it. How many times have they done that? People nominated. Bernie was on his way to the nomination. We don't care who you nominate. Super delegates are going to put in Hillary. Joe went through the nomination process and got nominated. No way yanking him. We got to keep power. We don't think he can keep power. We're going to run Kamala. And we're not going to have a primary because Kamala couldn't even get out of the primary in her own state when she actually ran for president the first time. Yeah, no, it's right. Yeah, no, of course. That's what I was just saying. It's just crazy.
The police department just released a statement in regards to the article by the Fall River Reporter.
Okay.
So, I can attempt to read it if you'd like.
Must be very. Is it a long statement?
It's about a page long.
All right, go ahead. Give it a shot. We still got a few minutes. We started late anyway, so.
Yep. The Fall River Police Department remains committed to protecting our community as well as upholding integrity of this profession. The recent article posted was filled with half-truths, fanciful conspiracies, and convenient omissions. As a result of the recent article making erroneous claims, we wanted to take this opportunity to clear the air. A careful review of the facts, many of which are acknowledged within the article itself, demonstrate that the situation is a legitimate law enforcement matter, not an abuse of authority. The crime being investigated was for Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 265, Section 43A, criminal harassment. The Mass General Law states as follows: whoever willfully and maliciously engages in a knowing pattern of conduct or series of acts over a period of time directed at a specific person which seriously claims the person, harms the person, and would not cause an immediate person to suffer substantial emotional distress shall be guilty of the crime of criminal harassment and shall be punished by imprisonment in a house of correction for not more than 2.5 years or a fine of more than $5,000 or both. Such fine and imprisonment. The conduct or acts described in the paragraph shall include, but not limited to, conduct and acts conducted by mail or by use of telephonic or telecommunications devices or electronic communication devices, including but not limited to any device that transfers signs, signals, writings, images, sounds, data, or intelligence of any nature, transmitted in whole or in part by wire, radio, electromagnetic, photoelectric, or photo-optical systems, including but not limited to electronic, mail, internet communications, internet messages, or facsimile. Below are the criteria for the criminal charge of Mass General Law, Chapter 265. The defendant committed at least these 3 separate acts. The defendant intended to target the alleged victim with each act. The defendant committed each act willful and maliciously. That the acts, while as a whole secretly seriously allowed the alleged victim, and that the acts taken as a whole would cause more damage. The thing is 4 pages long.
Yeah, well,
I'm not going to read 4 pages worth of information.
That sounds, that.
But they're covering their ass.
Well, what they're doing is they're going to charge him with fundamentally that, but then therein lies the rub. I'm glad they released that, because now if that individual is going to have to, they're going to have to litigate that. If they charge him with that, he gets a lawyer. Obviously, they're going to plead his side of the case. They're going to look into what was stipulated in here about the way they got the warrant, whether those things are actually, and that will be up to a judge and jury. But it's good that they responded. I'm sure that just because they quote a law and say he's charged with that, he is not convicted of that. So he is going to have to defend himself and his allegations in court. So, like I said, but this isn't about any of this. It's about Paul Coogan. I mean, this is just another symptom in the problems we have with the police department. And that was supposed to be fixed by going to civil service. I don't think civil service would fix it. And I said that, and I'm a big advocate of civil service. I think that the city council made a great mistake. And when they did that, they should have said, we want a chief from out of town who doesn't know a soul to come in here and redo and just completely take over this department like they did in Cranston, like they've done at some state police departments and stuff, and completely clean house, make this thing into a functioning unit where there's no favoritism because he doesn't know anybody. And then after maybe 4 years or 5 years with a chief from the outside, we can revisit the fact of promoting somebody internally and readopting civil service. Because I think, that horse has been out of the barn for too long. Nobody from within the structure of the Fall River PD can ever fix the Fall River PD again. I think it's irreparably damaged. There's too many tribes. That's just my opinion. But that's not about this. This is another thing. This is about, but that's what internal affairs is. Did internal affairs investigate these allegations against the police chief's son? They didn't put that in. They're talking about what they investigated him, but the allegations were, were they investigated? This is going to be a litigation. I mean, if they're going to charge this former police officer, hopefully he gets a really good lawyer and we can have some fun watching a case, because a lot of things may come out that they don't want to come out, maybe. So,
but you know what? The reason why they don't get a police chief from outside of the city, a fire chief from outside of the city, a school superintendent from outside of the city, a director of EMS from outside of the city, is because the entrenched administration will lose control.
Yeah.
And it's all about control.
Yeah. And nobody will come here from out of town if you tell them that you can't take over this department and do what you want with it to fix it.
Right.
You'll have to hire who I tell you to hire. You'll have to promote who I want you to promote. You'll have to do what I tell you to do. And they're going to go, well, I'm not going.
Right.
I'm not going to work there. You can't put me in charge and I'm not in charge. You're going to put me in charge and you're in charge. So, oh, you're right, Josh. I mean, the thing is, you can't operate under those things. It's like, you're going to hire somebody from the outside, but then say, you're just here. But then every promotion, I'm going to tell you who to promote. Everything I'm going to tell you to do. And if somebody calls me up, I'm going to make you change whatever position you took. And I'm going to tell you who to put everywhere. So what's the use of showing up? I mean, unless the guy's just looking for a paycheck. But then it doesn't matter where they're from. If they're just looking for a paycheck.
Hey, don't talk about Al Oliveira that way.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the craziness about it. But Coogan's done more to this city. Like I said, I can't believe it.
More to damage it.
But I mean, I've never seen. Look, there's always political favoritism and corruption. Nobody's that naive. We've been in this game for years.
Too long.
But I mean, just a blatant disregard for the law and a basic giant finger to the taxpayers running rampant and just ignoring the council. The only time he listens to the council is when they vote his way.
That's right.
So this is a nut house. And how anybody like that could be one of the longest serving mayors just goes. It's a sad commentary on the city and its
No,
voters.
Eddie Lambert was the longest serving mayor, wasn't he?
No, I know, but he is still one of the longest serving mayors.
Well, that shows you the former voter is stupid. I'm not going to pull punches. They're stupid.
Or lazy. They won't show up.
Or lazy.
And
by the voter turnout, it's just lazy.
I mean, how can you barely lose an election as a 3-term incumbent, almost lose an election by 200 votes when only 11,000 people showed up?
Exactly.
You should have Paul, you gave out 11,000 jobs.
That's right.
You should have won like 11,000 to 3. That's how bad you are. That's why he said the people have spoken. They can't stand me. Even the people that I gave jobs to, some of them didn't show up. Mostly because most of them live out of town after he gives them the job.
Scott, we're not going to see a city manager.
Yeah,
because the city council does not have the balls to tell Paul, get us that paperwork. Let's send it to Boston. Scott, and I said this when they sent it up for a change in government. This is going to take the people. The people need to get up off their ass.
Scott,
okay? The people need to demand a new form of government. The people need to demand a new mayor. The people need to demand a repeal of the CPA. The people need to demand a repeal of the rainwater tax. The people. That's who the government is. But you don't get off your ass because my vote doesn't matter. I'm an idiot.
Well, Scott, you're right. But I'll tell you what. City manager or mayor, if the people, whatever form of government you have, there has to be accountability. Even if we got a city manager, you're right. Unless the voters would make sure that there's accountability and they're working for us, the council, they have to hold a council, and if it was a mayor, the same way. You bounce them out. You can't keep somebody like Coogan in for 4 terms. You know, I mean, the reality is that it's ultimately, as it says, you know, in our Constitution in Massachusetts, we are the government. I don't care what form of we have in a city. Type E, you know, mayor, doesn't make any difference. If we held the mayor accountable, oh, yeah, that's something that we got to work on this summer. We got to go out and get some signatures to repeal that crap. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
I'd rather have a convicted felon than a notorious asshole.
And I will call it like I see it. I've worked with a lot of mayors, and I'll tell you what, Jazel wasn't a bad mayor as a manager and as a mayor. He may have done some stuff on the outside, but the bottom line is just like Buddy Cianci. They caught Buddy Cianci doing stuff, but Buddy Cianci saved Providence. He Renaissance, and the reality is that Paul Coogan has done more damage in 7 years than is done in 7 decades. And I mean, and it's just a blatant disregard. He just doesn't even care. He just goes and hides in the 6th floor and like, screw everybody. I'm going to do it. I promised I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it. And he's just and he's laughing all the way to the bank because once he's no longer mayor, he's out of here. He's going to go back to Somerset or somewhere else, and he's going to laugh at our tax rate. I tell you, it's tragic, but ultimately we can debate form of government, but all forms of government are capable of being manipulated by corrupt politicians. And that's why our Declaration of Independence clearly states that and they didn't stipulate what form. They didn't say type E, city manager, and mayor. It says in the declaration, and I'm paraphrasing, when any government fails to work for the people have the right and it basically implies the obligation to change that form of government to something that works for them. And if that means having a recall to throw out the mayor, to put in a mayor that's going to do what we want, therein lies the problem, Scott. Because what we need to do, and we never do, we do it every once in a while when we hit critical mass, DEFCON 5. What we need to do is tell politicians who want to get elected in Fall River, you work for us, you watch our money, you keep our tax rate as low as possible, or you're a one and done. Nobody works in this city for more than one term.
But it doesn't work that way, and you know it. Oh, they fixed the pothole in front of my driveway. They gave me a new sidewalk. They kissed my ass. They came to my house. Oh, they did this. Oh, they did that.
I'm not arguing with you. You're right, CJ.
What can you give me?
That's what people have got to do. You got to change the way you look at government. You can't stop bitching about government if you never freaking vote.
That's right.
That's it. I mean, you're right. You know, we know that. I vote in every damn final election. I don't vote on all the primaries sometimes, but I voted in every primary election since I got out of the military, basically. And I don't, this is the way it has to be. You have to throw them out. It's going to be one and done. You're out of there like your ass is on fire.
Term limits. Term limits. That's what we need. Term limits. No question about it.
Well, they would have to keep the taxes that way until...
See, Scott, you and I thinking alike.
They would have to keep it. Yeah, but the problem is that you'll never get that through. They've already tried that. And in reality, I always said that's a cop-out. You just taking it away from the voters. Because you know something?
They're too fucking stupid.
Well, bottom line is...
They're lazy.
Well, let me put it this way, CJ. If they're that fucking stupid, term limits isn't going to fix it. Because what they're going to do is the other guy gets 2 terms, and then they're going to put in another fucking asshole. So that term limits don't work either. The only thing that ever works is if the voters get their dead asses off the chair and only say 1 term and done. And if we have to put in 16 different guys in 16 years, somebody will finally get the idea that if you want to keep that job, you got to work for us. And with that, I'm done.
Good point. I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday. Sorry, YouTube, for today's show. It will be uploaded shortly. Bye-bye.